Greatness isn't born, it's engineered. Beyoncé didn't rise because of luck, industry favoritism, or viral moments. She rose because she built discipline before she built fame. While most people talk about dreams, she trained. While others waited for opportunity, she created one. Every stage she commands today was earned through repetition, sacrifice, and pressure most artists would run from. This is not a fantasy story about believing in yourself. This is the reality of ruthless practice, strategic planning, and a work ethic sharper than the competition. Beyoncé didn't wait for permission to win. She prepared so aggressively that failure had no space to exist. This is where it starts. Born in Houston, Texas, 1981. Middle-class household. No silver spoon, no struggle marketing sob story. Stable enough to pursue ambition, strict enough to build discipline. Matthew Knowles worked in sales structure, planning, execution. Tina Knowles artistic eye, precision, standards. Beyoncé didn't inherit comfort. She inherited expectation. Yes, she could sing early, but talent is meaningless without discipline. Her parents didn't romanticize her voice. They trained it. Voice lessons, dance rehearsals, confidence drills. Breathing practice, hours on stage long before fame. Childhood wasn't built around fun, it was built around preparation. This wasn't a supportive parent's fairy tale. It was a factory of ambition with high stakes and no excuses. Church choir became her first arena. She learned projection, emotional control, timing, and performance presence. Choir wasn't just singing. It was discipline and structure. That environment shaped her fundamentals. Talent shows weren't hobbies, they were testing grounds. She won often, but the purpose wasn't trophies. It was pressure tolerance. Winning built confidence, losing shaped resilience. Early wins didn't make her arrogant. They made her responsible. Once people expect excellence, you either deliver or collapse. She chose to deliver. Her first group wasn't Destiny's Child. It was Girls' Time. A kid group with big ambition and uneven skill levels. They got a chance on Star Search, the biggest talent platform in that era. And lost. Most kids would break. Beyoncé didn't. Failure wasn't humiliation, it was fuel. She learned early. Talent gets attention. Precision wins careers. Her father quit a secure job to manage her path. That was financial risk, pressure intensified. This family bet wasn't emotional, it was strategic. When a household restructures around your potential, failure isn't allowed. That shaped mindset. Beyoncé didn't grow up waiting for success. She grew up responsible for it. Matthew didn't train her like a pop hopeful, he trained her like an Olympian. Running while singing to build stamina. Long rehearsals, vocal endurance drills, perfection or repeat. This is the difference between hobby artists and legacy builders. Talent doesn't intimidate competition, work ethic does. Girls' Time evolved, members changed, focus sharpened. Destiny's Child formed with Beyoncé positioned clearly as the anchor. Leadership wasn't assigned, it was earned consistency, control, reliability. Labels didn't discover them by luck, they were already trained, polished, and packaged when opportunity arrived. Nothing happened instantly. Years of rejection, reshuffling, deals won and lost. No shortcuts, no viral breakthrough. Beyoncé adapted fast. She didn't chase trends, she built capability. When doors didn't open, they kept knocking until one did. Before fame, she already lived with pressure, discipline, and expectation. She wasn't preparing to be noticed, she was preparing to dominate once she was noticed. As Destiny's Child moved toward debut, Beyoncé wasn't a dreamer. She was a weapon in development sharpened by family sacrifice, competitive training, and relentless structure. Destiny's Child didn't walk into a friendly industry. Late 90s pop and R&B was crowded, competitive, and cutthroat. Labels cared about market advantage, not dreams. Beyoncé and the group entered prepared, not hopeful. They weren't asking to be chosen, they arrived rehearsed, polished, media-ready, and built for performance pressure. Their early singles did well, but not because fans magically appeared. They hit because the group was drilled in precision harmonies, stage presence, choreography, interviews. Every detail mattered. Beyoncé wasn't carried by the group. The group leaned on her stability. When lights hit, she delivered clean vocals, tight movement, and calm control. Say My Name set the tone, sharp delivery, attitude, memorable hook, and performance power. This wasn't just a hit. It built identity. Destiny's Child wasn't a bubblegum act. They brought confidence, maturity, and command. Beyoncé's voice didn't sound like a teen star. It sounded like someone built for arenas decades ahead. Success brings conflict. Member changes weren't smooth. There were disputes, pressure, resentment, lawsuits, and headlines. Many artists collapse here. Beyoncé faced accusations of favoritism and control. Instead of reacting emotionally, she stayed silent and kept performing. Public chaos, private discipline, that's how careers survive storms. Fans were confused, media was aggressive. Internal tension was real. But she didn't break character, no messy interviews, no emotional rants. She delivered hits and let results replace arguments. Damage is temporary when discipline is permanent. The group stabilized with a new lineup and moved forward stronger. Beyoncé wasn't just singing. She was shaping sound, tone, phrasing, and performance choices. She didn't wait for producers to create hits. She contributed to structure, lyrical approach, and chorus delivery. This wasn't ego. This was preparation for ownership. Most artists rely on teams. She built capability. Turning separated dreamers from doers, the group rehearsed like athletes. Synchronized movement, breath control, stamina. Beyoncé emerged as the performer who could sing live, dance full out, and stay sharp. People noticed, industry noticed. Fans didn't just enjoy performances. They trusted her capability. Hits like Survivor and Bootylicious shifted public perception. They weren't just a girl group. They were a force, themes, resilience, power, confidence. Beyoncé delivered the tone strong, controlled, assertive. The world saw her as the center, not because of ego, but because she executed consistently at the highest level. While fans saw group success, Beyoncé was planning ahead, listening to industry politics, learning creative logistics, studying business, watching how the industry really worked. Contracts, marketing, networks, control. Most artists enjoy fame. She studied it. Destiny's Child was not her ceiling. It was her training ground. As the group peaked, she didn't cling to comfort. She moved towards solo identity quietly, disciplined, without messy public drama. Exits define careers. She left at the top. She transitioned with respect, timing, and precision. No desperate holding on, no decline era. She evolved before she needed to. By the end of Destiny's Child phase, Beyoncé was more than a pop star. She was a trained performer, a strategic thinker, and a leader built through pressure, precision, and public scrutiny without emotional collapse. The next phase isn't about rising. It's about proving she could dominate alone and reshape the industry on her terms. Going solo isn't impressive. Staying relevant after going solo is. Most artists collapse once group identity disappears. Beyoncé didn't wobble. She entered her solo era with a blueprint, not hope. She wasn't trying to prove she could be a star. She was proving she could become the standard. Her debut solo album Dangerously in Love wasn't designed to test the waters. It was engineered to dominate. Crazy in Love didn't introduce Beyoncé, it announced her. Powerful vocals, authority in delivery, choreography with purpose, not girlish energy. Controlled, commanding presence. She didn't ask the world to accept her alone, she gave them no choice. She wasn't just making music, she was sculpting a visual persona. Stylized videos, precision in movement, camera discipline. She understood early that modern fame is visual dominance. People believe what they see repeatedly. She made sure every appearance reinforced strength, elegance, and control, consistent branding, zero randomness. Not everyone welcomed her rise, a young black woman attempting to lead mainstream pop and R&B. That disrupts systems, labels doubted her business instincts. Critics questioned her autonomy. Male-dominated boards underestimated her. She didn't debate them, she outworked them. Let's be honest, this was not some Disney romance trajectory. It was alignment between two rising forces. Cultural influence meets business ambition. He offered network power, market intelligence, and industry respect. She brought mainstream appeal, discipline, and global reach. Relationship plus strategy equals empire foundation. While other artists overshared, Beyoncé withheld limited interviews, controlled answers. No public meltdowns, she made silence valuable. Scarcity builds demand. Most celebrities leak attention because they need validation. She protected her brand like an asset. People talk louder about what they can't access. Her acting wasn't perfect, doesn't matter. Every role expanded visibility and stretched her capability. Dreamgirls earned praise because she didn't chase praise, she chased improvement. Growth requires discomfort. Weak minds fear criticism. She used it as sharpening pressure. This era built her reputation as a performer who can't be outworked. Tour with rigorous structure, full energy choreography paired with live vocals, no shortcuts. Most pop stars either sing or dance. She mastered doing both without breaking. You don't achieve that by chance. You achieve it by suffering through training most artists avoid. She moved deeper into directing visuals, shaping sound, and influencing business decisions. Control costs money, risk, and patience. She accepted all three. The music industry likes compliant talent. Beyoncé never fit that mold. She wasn't built for obedience. She was built for ownership. By the late 2000s, Beyoncé's name represented more than music. It represented discipline, ambition, and consistency. No scandals, no chaos, no breakdowns, just output, execution, and improvement. People didn't fear her hype, they feared her stamina. At this point, she wasn't competing with musicians, she was competing with institutions. She had foundation, power alliances, audience trust, and proof of dominance across multiple arenas. The next era wouldn't just elevate her career, it would reshape the landscape of pop culture, touring, business strategy, and artist independence. By this stage, she wasn't chasing hits, she was shaping movements. Most artists peak and coast. Beyoncé peaked and re-engineered her career model. She shifted from global pop star to global brand force that requires intelligence, discipline, and vision, not just talent. Bey was explosive energy, aggression, and sharp production. Fast turnaround, intense rollout. She didn't fear speed, she used momentum. While others chased perfection by delaying, she chased precision through execution. Real professionals don't freeze, they deliver under pressure. Beauty deals, fashion collaborations, brand campaigns, but she didn't become a puppet. She treated partnerships as equity plays, visibility boosters, and control experiments. Where other celebrities sold image for short-term cash, she invested her likeness for long-term dominance. She didn't want endorsement status, she wanted ownership mentality. Some artists release music. Beyoncé created eras. Album visuals, documentary formats, long-term rollouts, fashion integrated into music cycles. When she moved, the industry paused. That doesn't happen by chance. It happens when your consistency forces markets to adjust around you. Super Bowl isn't a performance, it's a declaration. She treated it like territory conquest, live vocals, choreo, stadium control, zero panic. She didn't entertain, she dominated. Millions watched, and she came off as inevitable. Not lucky, not hyped, inevitable. Jay-Z scandal era hit. Most celebrities crumble under relationship betrayal going public. She weaponized pain into art without turning her life into gossip content. Lemonade wasn't a breakup album, it was narrative control. She handled personal failure with business discipline, convert crisis into positioning, not pity. Not surface-level activism, strategic cultural positioning. She elevated black art without asking mainstream permission. Not hashtag solidarity, economic empowerment, creative platforming, narrative reclamation. She didn't follow movements, she shaped them. Influence isn't about noise, it's about direction. When she opened up, it wasn't vulnerability for sympathy. It was curated truth to demonstrate work ethic and sacrifice. She didn't show pain to be relatable, she showed struggle to educate people on discipline. Exposure used as tool, not coping mechanism. Minimal interviews, no messy public commentary. Precise statements, elite grade management of public image. She didn't adapt to internet culture's oversharing. She forced the world to operate on her terms. That's brand dominance. Whether Ivy Park or Turing strategy, she built cash flow systems that don't rely on streaming hype cycles. Turing power, merchandise economy, and media products. She didn't want revenue, she wanted leverage. Money is a tool for independence, not validation. Her tour became masterclasses in endurance, structure, and control. Minimal errors, no excuses, a performer who trains like an athlete and leads like an executive. Crowds didn't worship fame, they respected preparation. People who work less than her call her obsessive. People who work harder than most call her disciplined. Excellence isn't built on balance and comfort. It's built on sacrifice and repetition. She didn't chase fame, she chased mastery. Fame followed because it had no choice. At this point, Beyoncé didn't exist inside the industry, she stood above it. She didn't chase cultural relevance, she dictated it. She wasn't a singer trying to stay famous, she was an institution built on work, foresight, and refusal to decline. Beyoncé was no longer just a star. She became a cultural force shaping music, fashion, business, and identity across the globe. Her influence stopped being measured by charts. It started being measured in movements, conversations, and generational change. Her performances were no longer concerts. They were cultural events. Her albums were not just music releases. They became academic studies, think pieces, and political statements. She had mastered the pop formula years ago. Now, she was rewriting the entire rule book. But with massive influence came massive pressure. Every project had to be innovative. Every appearance had to be iconic. Every move sparked global debate. She stopped chasing trends, she started making them. She leaned deeper into creative control, private execution, and artistic secrecy. This era solidified her as a visionary, not just a performer. And she did it without bending to fame's demands. She refused to overshare her personal life. She refused to let the internet dictate her moves. She refused to play by traditional industry cycles. Instead, she worked in silence and struck with precision. Every drop was strategic. Every visual meant something. Every sound had intention. Her legacy expanded from music superstar to institution. Younger artists watched her blueprint and tried to copy it. But copying Beyoncé's discipline, reinvention, and strategic genius was impossible. Talent alone doesn't build empires. Execution does. She turned her name into a brand of excellence. People didn't just listen to her. They studied her, they reacted to her. Beyoncé began focusing heavily on long-term power plays. Film deals, production credits, distribution control, brand partnerships built on equity instead of payment, and ventures designed to outlive her. Sports team investment exposure through Jay-Z's business moves. Creative ownership of her masters and visual property. Massive touring power making millions per show. Merch empire and premium lifestyle branding. Film and visual production company expansion. And global licensing deals positioning her like a cultural institution. She wasn't building a career anymore. She was building a dynasty. Instead of chasing short-term hype, she chased generational impact. While many artists tried to stay relevant through drama or PR scandals, Beyoncé stayed relevant through pure mastery and mystery. She detached herself from celebrity noise. Fame stopped being her identity. Power became her focus. She didn't care about trending, she cared about lasting. And that's exactly what she achieved. Her business choices created wealth structures designed to feed her family for generations, not years. She ensured that her success wasn't temporary entertainment fame. It was legacy-level financial architecture. And she kept winning because she thought big when others thought short. Beyoncé fully embraced her identity, heritage, and mission to uplift Black culture on the world stage. She began using her platform to rewrite narratives about beauty, power, and success. She amplified African roots, Southern Black culture, and diaspora history. Her art became a global education tool and a celebration of identity. She didn't ask for approval. She didn't wait for validation. She created representation at the highest level and made the industry catch up. She pushed for diversity not as a trend but as a non-negotiable reality. And she didn't just talk representation. She hired it, paid it, trained it, elevated it. She built pipelines for Black creatives across film, fashion, choreography, styling, music production, and corporate leadership. She broke ceilings so precisely that they never got rebuilt. Her legacy became about more than her voice. It became about giving voice. She proved that artistic excellence and cultural responsibility could coexist and thrive. While building an empire, Beyoncé protected her family fiercely. Fame tried to pry into her private life, but she refused to let it control her. She kept motherhood grounded, shielded, and intentional. She didn't chase the spotlight. She used it only when it served purpose. Her silence became power. Her absence built anticipation. Her returns created cultural explosions. This was not luck, this was discipline and long-term vision. She evolved beyond music, she evolved beyond celebrity. She evolved into a mythic figure, visible yet unreachable, relatable yet unreachable, human yet larger than life. Many tried to decode her formula, most failed. The truth is simple. She earned every bit of her power through relentless work, high standards, personal sacrifice, and fearless reinvention. And she still stood calm, composed, private, and focused. No scandals, no downfall cycles, no desperation for relevance. Just pure dominance. Beyoncé redefined touring into hybrid cultural events, part concert, part theater, part political statement, part documentary, part fashion showcase. Her tour weren't just profitable, they were historical. Merch lines sold out globally. Stadiums filled instantly. Fan pilgrimages became normal. The internet shut down during live clips. Entire economies moved when she dropped dates. A Beyoncé world tour didn't visit a city, it consumed it. And she didn't need controversy to stay relevant. Her performance ability kept her at the top because excellence ages well, trends fade, talent doesn't. She also revolutionized visual albums, set design, choreography discipline, and fandom loyalty systems before most artists understood their value. Her influence wasn't reactionary. It was predictive. She didn't follow culture, she became culture. And she kept proving one truth repeatedly: greatness is engineered, not accidental. Beyoncé stands as one of the most influential artists in modern history. Her legacy isn't tied to a single era, genre, or medium. She evolved from a driven Houston girl into a global institution, a force that shaped not only music but culture, business strategy, representation, and the definition of modern stardom. She broke industry rules instead of obeying them. She redefined privacy in a world obsessed with exposure. She built leverage quietly and then used it loudly, and she turned discipline into dominance. Her career proved several truths. Hard work beats hype. Execution beats noise. Ownership beats popularity. Longevity beats trends. Artistic focus beats public validation. A lot of artists chase fame. Beyoncé chased control, and control gave her something fame never could: permanence. Her visual storytelling changed how albums are experienced. Her surprise release strategy changed how music is marketed. Her touring scale set new economic records. Her cultural authority reshaped beauty standards, identity pride, and artistic ambition across generations. She didn't become a superstar. She became a blueprint. When future artists study power, she will be a case study. When business schools discuss creative empires, she will be curriculum. When historians examine cultural leaders of the 21st century, she will be included, not as a celebrity, but as a transformative architect of modern culture. And she did it while staying fundamentally human, protecting her family, prioritizing balance, refusing to become a spectacle for entertainment. She proved you can be iconic without being chaotic. She built wealth without selling peace. She built influence without begging for attention. She built a legacy without scandal destroying it. Most artists fear being forgotten. Beyoncé built a legacy designed to outlive her lifespan. Her name is now a standard. Her journey is now a map. Her discipline is now a myth, and her impact is embedded in culture, art, identity, and business, impossible to erase and very difficult to surpass. And she's not finished. Legends don't retire. They evolve into history, then into foundation, then into something even bigger: symbols. Beyoncé is already there. From teenage rehearsals in Houston to shaping global culture, Beyoncé's story is a study in relentless discipline, strategic silence, artistic courage, and ownership of one's destiny. She didn't follow doors opened for her. She built her own and then held them open for others. And whether she releases another album tomorrow or in 5 years, the world will still wait, because she no longer runs on the industry's clock. The industry watches hers. Beyoncé isn't just a performer. She's a benchmark, a cultural architect, a generational force. And her legacy has already crossed the line from fame to forever.